when you're vetting your project manager, you need to make sure that they have ran projects before, that they have been successful projects, that have gotten to the finish line. You need to be asking for referrals. You need to talk to those referrals. And when they give you those referrals right there on the spot, you need to call them right there while that project manager is standing in front of you. These people are slick out here now. So they'll give you people, and then they'll call them and be like, hey, tell them, because I need these jobs, right? So you call them right there on the spot. ShemiKa laughing because she knows. When I'm vetting out project managers, I say, hey, give me your referrals. And then they, oh, okay, I'm gonna give you the referrals. And then they give me referrals. We call them on the spot. I want you to stand right here while we call them on the spot. So it intimidates some of them because they don't want you to find out what's really going on.
Share that beat of love. I wanna ride.
Well, welcome all of our boss queens, boss ladies, boss chicks, just boss women in the house. We're happy to have you tonight. Definitely elated, excited about this event. So again, welcome to this month's meeting for Black Women Invest, and we'll be discussing real estate, but particularly real estate investing. So it doesn't matter what point of your journey that you're on in real estate, whether you're, again, first time you're interested in real estate, you're already a seasoned investor, doesn't matter, you're gonna have something you're gonna walk away today from this event from, okay? Several jewels and nuggets will be dropped tonight, trust and believe. You definitely wanna be in this room tonight with the ladies we have here. Again, I am Dee Overstreet, I'm a realtor and an investor as well. We have LaRon, who's a realtor. I'm affiliated with Keller Williams. We have LaRon Chadwick, she's affiliated with State Realty. We have ShemiKa Hall, she's affiliated with Keller Williams, and also Hall Real Estate Group. And we also have Miss Avriel DuVerney, and she's affiliated with, the CEO of Stone to Stone Solutions. So again, we are super excited to have you all here, and let's get started.
All right, go ahead. You can start with the questions.
Okay. Well, in an interject anytime, if anyone has any questions, again, you have your notebooks. So again, please use the notebooks to take notes, because there's definitely going to be some valuable information dropped tonight. So I will ask, starting with Ms. ShemiKa, can I ask you what actually interested you in starting real estate? How did you start investing?
So starting to invest, I guess it was kind of like one of those things, you know, if you are any kind of journey in entrepreneurship or business, you hear a lot about, you know, what's going to give you the best return on your investments. And, you know, real estate is resounding. You know, everybody says that 90% of the world's millionaires came that way through real estate. And so at the time, like, I purchased my first home when I was in my early 20s. I wasn't thinking anything about real estate or real estate investing. I was just thinking, these people said I should get a house, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm a nurse as well. I've been retired from full-time nursing for a couple of years. But it was because of the passion I had for real estate. And I really was doing the job of a real estate agent before actually getting a license. So because I had already been through it, helping people, and then after COVID, you know, I did a lot of work during COVID. After that, I was like, okay, if I can save up all this money, I won't have to go back to bedside. Like, that was it. And so I ended up going to real estate school and finished it 21 days, in and out, got my license, and it's been like up from there. Now, what I didn't know was, as far as real estate investing, I'd already had licenses in investing, like my Series 6, 63, 26, and studying for my 65 right now. I already knew that part of investing, as far as stocks, mutual funds, managed accounts, and everything. That part I knew. So I was already investing in that way back in like 2015 or so. So that was already going for me. But to be able to hedge against, you know, I guess I would. Sorry. Okay. So to be able to diversify my income more, I decided that, well, since I'm in real estate now, maybe it makes sense to start looking into ways that I can invest in real estate with the money that I was earning. So the short answer is I started in every little area of real estate, and fixing and flipping I learned was not for me. Helping with Avriel's help, but that's because I thought that like HGTV makes it look so easy. You know, when they go in there and they all dressed up, kicking down the doors and all that stuff. And I really thought it would be cool. until you start actually going through the houses and you getting the smells and you getting the cobwebs and you getting all that stuff. And I'm not super girly girl, but that is just not for me. Because I can't even focus on getting the vision, like how they're supposed to go, take the kitchen out, I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it at all. And so, but I realized there's a lot of moving parts to fix and flip. And that because I can get the capital, and I have capital, I can invest in projects passively. So I don't have to worry about all that stuff. What I do have to worry about is having an active investor that knows exactly what to do. So I started to spend my time, effort, and energy in sourcing those people out. Because I knew that I wasn't gonna necessarily do it. But if you have people that you trust, people on your team, you know, that you're obviously gonna be able to build, then it makes it a lot easier. And then once you start employing capital, you see other ways that you can get a higher return on your money, like in a very short amount of time, which enables you to be able to scale your business to whatever else you wanna try, because now you have the capital coming in.
And Avriel, what about you? How did you get started? What piqued your interest?
So, I was in the military, so I served 20 years in the United States Air Force. And I seen my uncle take care of our family sometimes with real estate. And so I got intrigued at an early age with real estate then. So I thought that after I retired from the military, I wasn't working for anyone else. I promised myself that I wasn't going to punch a clock ever again, and I was going to start in real estate. So he really sparked that interest for me to get started in real estate. And then 6 months after my retirement, I tragically lost him. So I found myself on a whirlwind, just trying to figure out how I was going to learn this real estate. But I made a vow to myself that I was going to get out there, I was going to find me a mentor, I was going to find me a coach, and I was going to learn this real estate game. And that's what I did. So that's what got me started in real estate.
Okay.
Anybody got any questions? Everybody just, are y'all taking it all in? Anybody got any questions so far? Okay.
You talked about, you mentioned passive investing. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what does that mean? What is the difference between, what's passive investing, an investor rather, versus an active investor?
Okay. And so, and Avriel, I think she should answer this question too. We should both should. We
Okay.
know each other, obviously. I'm not just putting her on the spot, but I know she's gonna tear this up. So my short answer, active investor and passive. Obviously, an active investor is somebody that's out there day to day. You know, they're boots on the ground. They're in the fields, in the trenches. They pretty much are in charge of the project. So as being part of the project, they do have to source things like capital. They have to source the contractors. They have to source the deals, essentially, even though some of them are brought to them. And so with my career as a real estate agent and those other 50 million things you heard me do, I really don't have the time, you know, to physically be out there on the projects and things like that. The good thing is, obviously, when you're an entrepreneur, technically you're in charge of your time, but that is easier said than done. So if I have an active investor that I trust, I don't mind employing capital. And so the way we do that generally is like, if Avriel says, you know, I have this project, it's gonna cost this amount of money for construction, you know, we need it by this date, you know, what can you do? You know, do you wanna do this or not? You know, and she'll tell me about the interest rates, tell me if it's gonna, you know, how much money we're gonna make, basically what we need to do, and then I can either source it like through myself, or I can go through my group or my team and say, this is how much we need, you know, we need it by this date, this is gonna be our return, and it kind of goes that way. But I feel like the key to that is having someone that you absolutely trust, because there are a lot of people out here saying what they do, and you know, it's totally not that. And the only way to find that out, like I said, is to vet the people as much as you absolutely can, spend time with them outside of real estate, you know, see what their family like. And I feel like in where we are right now, I mean, I can even say I probably attest to it. Well, myself. So think about, like, you know, when I think about Instagram, and I'm older, okay? Instagram probably isn't like my favorite, but I think about all the people on there that are just on there, you know, to look rich. And like,
Right.
I want to be rich. I don't want to look rich. I'm cool with everything else. Just make sure I'm rich. You know, I don't want to necessarily look rich. So I feel like the only way to be able to do that is to find people that are like me. They may not be the flashiest. They may not be, you know, and I guess I can say I'm not easily swayed by things like that. Like, if it's something that I like, then that's it. But it's not like, it's not the material stuff so much, you know what I mean? And I had to start making a lot of money to be able to understand that, because I was in the new money phase, like making all this money, spending all kind of money for years. And then once I kind of feel like, it's like, what do I do like after this? Like I said, the young lady, she's a nurse, you know, we make crazy money. I've been making it for years, but I wasn't holding on to it. So it was something internal that when I made money, I had to spend it because in my mind, I can make it right back. But now it's like I can make it right back by investing. And even if it takes a year, even if it takes 5 or 10 years, I plan on still being here. But I have places to employ it now. So I have my money working for me. I don't have to work as hard now. That's the thing that, that is not the answer to the question. But that's my part of the passive part, okay? Passive, active, sign me up for passive all day long, pretty much. That's it. And like I said, I think we did talk about, I'll get into it a little bit later, but what do you think about the active and passive investors?
So I think for me, I'm more of active because the fix and flip is quick money. The flips normally take between 6 to 8 months to return revenue to our investors. So as ShemiKa was saying, we have private equity guys that come in. We have family offices that invest with us. We have friends and family that invest with us. And so they make more money with us and it's active income for them. So it's not really passive income because they're getting this money back 6 to 8 months. And so now they're looking for a longer play because we're making so much money now. They're looking for a longer play. So now we're looking at multifamily. So that's more of a passive side because it's more of a long-term play for them. So that's the way that my investors look at active versus passive.
So for those of the young ladies here and gentlemen that may be interested in, doing a fix and flip, how do they go about finding people that, as you guys say, that you can trust in order to be into business with? I know ShemiKa said, you got to get to know them and, know all about them. What's your take on that? How do you vet your people?
So, well, it depends because when you're talking about a team, you're talking about your contractors, you're talking about your licensed realtor. I leaned on ShemiKa heavy when it comes to comps. I run my own numbers. I comp the property, which means that if you're very new, comping means that I need to know once I put my money in this, what can I get back? So once I fix it and flip it, what can I get back? The ARV after rehab value. So for me, I lean heavy on ShemiKa. So the first person that I would tell you that you need to build a relationship with is a realtor. If you don't have a realtor license, that needs to be your right-hand person that you work closely with because they are going to be your saving grace when you get out here in this market, right? The second person that I think that you would need would be a project manager. I don't manage my own projects because we are flipping 5 homes every 6 months. So I have a project manager that manages all of our projects. So that project manager makes sure that my project stays on schedule. He's paying out general contractors. He's making sure that the subs are doing what they're supposed to be doing. If there's any change orders that needs to be done, and what I mean by change orders, if there are any changes on that project, they need to run it through me first. Say for instance, we were going to use laminate floors or something like that, but they don't have laminate floors in. We may go with another floor that we need to put in. So before they just make a change and say, hey, we ain't been putting laminate floors in, we're just going to put whatever floors we have. They need to run a change order through me. So they make sure, your project manager makes sure that all of your paperwork is flowing the way that it's supposed to be flowing and that it gets to the finish line. They are going to be your eyes, your ears, your boots on the ground. They will be there day in and day out. They are supposed to, when you're vetting your project manager, you need to make sure that they have ran projects before, that they have been successful projects, that have gotten to the finish line. You need to be asking for referrals. You need to talk to those referrals. And when they give you those referrals right there on the spot, you need to call them right there while that project manager is standing in front of you. These people are slick out here now. So they'll give you people, and then they'll call them and be like, hey, tell them that, because I need these jobs, right? So you call them right there on the spot. ShemiKa laughs because she knows. When I'm vetting out project managers, I say, hey, give me your referrals. And then they go, oh, okay, I'm going to give you the referrals. And then they give me referrals. We call them on the spot. I want you to stand right here while we call them on the spot. So it intimidates some of them because they don't want you to find out what's really going on. Yeah. The project manager and the contractor make or break your deal when it comes to fixing and flipping. So you just need to make sure that those guys are spot on. But yeah, those are going to be my key people, your project managers and your realtors. They're going to be my first people that I network with.
Okay, I know we did a live the other night and we were talking about vetting people. So she mentioned that she asked people for their financials, and I still can't get past that. So who are the people that you ask for their financials? the general contractors or?
The general contractor and your PM. Because you wanna make sure that people that are managing your projects, that they don't have no financial problems. There's a lot of money that run through their hands. So you need to make sure that they're not in any type of financial problem. And the reason I say that is that this week I did 5 coaching calls with women that have been taken advantage of in the field from project managers that have financial problems and they've stolen their money.
Oh, wow.
So now their projects are at a standstill.
And you know, you hear that kind of thing all the time, especially, you know, when there's a disaster here in Houston and, you know, it's flooded here and everybody needs a new roof or, you know, whatever the case may be, house may need to be gutted. And all of a sudden, all these contractors come into town and they're passing out cards, signs everywhere, and then you hear story after story, especially with the elderly, that contractor took their money, or they don't know, you know, they did a little something, but they just left the rest of the house as is. And so this keeps you from getting taken advantage of. Now, when we did the live the other night, just to give everybody a sneak peek, I mean, I was floored by the fact that she said she asked people for their financials, because I do credit repair. My company does credit repair, and sometimes when I'm doing the consultations with people, they don't even want to share their credit information, and it's like, so like, how am I gonna fix your credit if I don't see your credit report? Like, how does that work? You know?
Right.
So when she was like, yes, I asked for financials, I'm like, wait, what? Like, so do they just log in to Chase and show it to me? Like, what you know, no, for real though. But, you know, and the fact that she was so, and she was just so passionate about it, and like, if you don't show me your financials, I can't work with you. And that's basically how you need to be, because if they can't show you their financials, and you know, after she explained it that way, you know, if they can't show you their financials, then why would you want to work with them? And just think about, especially when you get in higher level positions in different companies, they run your credit. That's the whole point of them running your credit, so they can see what type of person that you are, whether or not you're in financial troubles, especially if you're in the banking industry or any type of high clearance industry, government, etc. They're gonna run your credit, and if you don't pass on that credit check, you're not getting access denied. You know, you're not being G5 classified. it ain't happening. So, you know, I know, and I know for me, it may not be that way for y'all, but, you know, to just ask somebody, okay, look, you either gonna show me your financials or you're not. I mean, and she's given, you know, very good information, because, like she said, what if they're in financial trouble?
Right.
And they use your money to pay off whoever? What you gonna do then? You know, and so especially being a starter investor, well, I mean, even if you've been in investing for a while, don't nobody got no money to be giving away. So, you know, I'm gonna let y'all have the floor, but I know I just wanted to slide that in there.
So, like, to piggyback on what Lauren said, do you have them give you a certain amount of bank statements, 3 months, or?
3 months. Yep.
Do you ask them for it there on the spot for them to show it to you?
Absolutely.
Or do you just let them send it to you in an email later?
No,
Girl,
they can send it to
right,
me.
right.
They can send it to me right there on the spot. If they need to black out their account number and all that stuff, that's perfectly fine. I just need to know that they're not in any type of financial problems, right? And so for me, I need 3 months. And I need to see the full 7, 8, 10 pages, whatever it is, I need to see. Because I need to make sure that, because I have private investors, me and ShemiKa have private investors. So when we entrust them with money to get paid to the subs or the contractors, I need to make sure that the contractors are getting paid. I need to make sure that the subs are getting paid, because I don't want lien waivers placed on the home, so then it puts a stop on my project.
See, a lot of times I've been GCing my own projects, but even when I've had the project or GC on jobs, I've never asked him, but I've paid the workers myself, so that I make sure I guess I have trust issues.
No, that's smart. That's smart. It's so many different ways you can do it, but I like that idea. If you have the time and the energy and you're able to, then that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And generally, when it's deals like that, the money doesn't come like they don't just get the whole thing. It's like draw one, draw two. You know, everything that's supposed to be completed in the house. This is coming out. This is how much it's supposed to cost. So if they're calling you, you know, week 2, saying, hey, we need a little bit more money, it's like, oh no. What about these weeks?
Right.
You know, this isn't done. You know, there is no more money until this is done. And so we had a lovely situation here with that not too long ago. But I mean,
About 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
About 2 weeks to be exact, yes.
interesting.
Can
Yeah,
you
we
give
had a
us a little more information?
So we had a contractor, we have 3 active flips going right now in Dallas. And so we had a contractor, there was foundation work that needs to be done, these were heavy lifts. So we had foundation problems on both of the homes, on 2 of the homes, the other one's just a cosmetic flip. And so the foundation was done on one, the structural engineer came out, so when you're doing flips and there's foundation issues, structural engineers have to come out and they have to give you a green tag to pass it so you can move on to everything else. So we can put the subfloors in. Where there was a beam that was missing in one of the flips. So I called ShemiKa and I was like, listen, I'm about to blow a gasket right now and I need you to talk me off the edge right now. Because we've been working with this GC for a little while, and so he told us it was gonna be $20,000 when we first started. And so then we get an invoice for additional, $15,000? For additional $15,000. And I said, where is this invoice coming from? And he said, well, the foundation guy said that because they have to put another beam in, that it's gonna be additional $15,000. I said, no, we're not doing change order for $15,000. You better make it work.
Right, you should have known that
Yeah.
when you came out to the beginning.
Yes. So that was the conversation that I had with ShemiKa. I said, listen, right now this GC is getting on my nerves. And so the PM was at one of our other 3 projects, and I said, he's not over there, so can you call this gentleman and talk to him, because I'm not talking to him right now. So this is what we go through, and so when they call us, that wasn't a change order. That was another full invoice that they were looking for. And so when it comes to foundation issues, when we're talking about beams, when there is it's pier beams. So it's not a slab, and what I mean by slab is just not straight concrete. It's beams that they have to put underneath the house. So they have to jack the house out on one side, install the beams inside, then they have to let it down, and then they do each corner of the house, and then they do the middle of the house. And that's just to stabilize the house, so the structural engineer, when we put the subfloors in, it'll be even all the way throughout the house. So that's what I mean by pier beam. So I know everybody, some people are new here, so I don't want to make sure that the lingo is not because I'm just accustomed, but that's what happened. And so what happened, one of the beams on the front part of the house, they missed 2 spots of the beams. So when the structural engineer walked in, it was kind of like leaning a little bit. When he hit that floor and it slanted, he was like, yeah, nah. So it wasn't a pass for us. So we had to get the foundation guys back out there, but because the PM missed it and because our GC missed it, this is why it's so important to have people that really know what they're doing on your job, because they would have caught that prior before it's having an inspector come out. Because each time an inspector comes out, we have to pay for that. So that costs us money. So when the inspector came out, the structural engineer came out, he failed us. So then they give us a red tag, and so until we fix it, we couldn't do anything else on the house. And so the foundation guys delayed us because they wanted an additional $15,000 to come back out and fix it. And I was like, no, you need to come back out here because we already paid you $20,000. So foundation for that size house should have been no more than $15,000. But they got over us on $5,000, but I needed to get it done. So we paid an additional $5,000, then they was trying to get additional $15,000 out of us. So this is what happens when women are in the field.
Right.
No disrespect, men. But when women are in the field, they try to take advantage of you, right? And so when I made the telephone call to them, I was like, no, we're not paying another $15,000. So I need you to go out here and I need you to fix it because you told us that you were going to put pier and beams all the way through. So you're not honoring your contract, so you'll be in breach of contract, and then my attorney will have a conversation with you. Another thing is that you always need to have an attorney on retainer, always.
And then it's so hard to get back on your schedule a lot of times. They'll try to put you off. Once they've already been out there, they'll try to put you off and put you on the back burner. And it's just hard getting them back out there. So that's a whole nother process in itself.
Yeah, and it delayed us about, 4 days? About 4 days, so.
And I think another thing with Avriel, because she is super passionate about it, you have to think like if someone's willing to give you money to invest, they trust you. And I don't take someone's trust, lightly. Your relationship, your network is your net worth. And so relationships are currency, especially in a business like this. And so, all of us gonna be able to meet and accept everything today. What if we never met each other? We're gonna find all these common things, you know what I mean? So that's why we like coming to events and things, because we may meet the next person that we're gonna do a deal with, or, that's what you have to do. But I mean, it's really hairy when you're talking to these investors and they're like, oh, and I thought it was gonna be done on such and such day. We had this thing going on with the bank, things like that. But I mean, you do have to be accountable and things like that. And generally, you think in word of mouth, referral, and things like that. These people, they do trust you, and that's where things get it's sometimes uncomfortable conversations. I'll say that, uncomfortable conversations. But you have to have that. But you have agreements with the people, for your private money and things like that. But it gets kind of tough. But at the end of the day, keep yourself calm and everything. Keep yourself calm.
ShemiKa, you mentioned money just now. With that being said, I want to ask about for those that are wanting to start investing. Let's talk about the misconception of you don't need money to start investing. I know if you're on social media, you see this all the time. You see a reel. Oh, you don't need any money. Start investing today. You invest with somebody else's money. Is that the truth? The non-truth? Can we talk about that? Let's converse.
You can start first. I know what you're going to say.
Do you need money to invest do you need some sort of money?
You need some sort of money. So depending on what you want to do in real estate. So if you want to be a wholesaler, which means that you find a house, I'll be your end buyer. So use me as an example. You find a house, you put that house on the contract, right? And then you come to me and you say, Avriel, I have a house. You give me whatever my buy box is, and my buy box is what I'm looking for that particular type of house. And so if it fits my buy box, I'm immediately call ShemiKa and I'm like, hey, we're going on the contract.
So what's a buy box? Is that criteria?
It's the criteria
Okay.
of what I'm looking for,
Okay.
or what our investors are looking for.
Okay.
And then what you'll do is that you'll assign that contract to me, which means that all you're doing is selling paper. So you sell the paper to me and you tell me, hey, my commission on this, or not my commission, my assignment fee is $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. If it still fits within for me to make money off of it and my investors to make money, then I'll take that. So with that, you still need money. So you still need to be able to source those leads, which means that you're going to prop stream, you're going to batch leads, geodata,
Now, what are
privy.
these? Because we don't know. What are these that you're listing?
So these are sourcing documents. These are sourcing apps.
Okay.
So this is how you find your leads.
Okay.
So, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So these are your sourcing leads. So your batch leads, prop stream. Those are the two top ones that we use. This is where you find homes that you're looking for people to sell on the investment side.
Okay.
You can also door knock if you like. You can work pre-foreclosure. I mean, there's so many lists out here that you can actually get. But starting out as a wholesaler, I think driving for dollars beats everything all day, right? So driving for dollars means that you're getting out and you're going and you're looking for a home. You're looking for anything that shows that this is a distressed property, high grass, broken windows, boarded windows, something that shows that this house may be vacant, right? And so if you're gonna use driving for dollars, then you still need gas, right? You still need a way to call them. You need to skip trace it. And what I mean by skip trace is that you need to find out who owns that home. So you still gotta skip trace it. So even as a wholesaler, you still need money starting out. You don't need a lot of money starting out because those apps are, I think the highest one is $100, which is prop stream, that's a month. But you still need to be able to source your leads. If you're getting into fixing and flipping, depending on the price of the house right now, we have private money. So the people that are in my coaching program, if they come inside of my coaching program, I fund their flips. And then we do a 51-49 split. So I own the majority of it, and then they get the 49%. And so this is how I teach them that you don't need money. I want you off of the sideline and I want you in the game, right? Because that's the problem that people have. Oh, I don't have the money, so that's the excuse for them to sit on the sideline. So I want them in the game, and I want them to start learning how to fix and flip. Because I tell everybody, one deal can change your life. My first flip, I made $189,000 off of my first flip.
So
Can I borrow
Ladies,
some?
y'all hear that?
She $129 Flip C. Right. Can I borrow some?
I'm telling you, one, all you need is
Start
one.
fixing and flipping.
You just need one. And if you find your lead source is actually gonna lead you to those deals where you're making that type of money. But $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, would that change anybody's life in here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just one deal, that's all you need. And that one deal gives you the confidence to go out there and do it again.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you talk about your coaching program? I heard you mention it earlier too, okay?
Yes. So I have a couple.
I know that's what people want to get to.
So we have. Why did she do this? So I have a 3-month coaching program. I have a 6-month coaching program. I have a full year, and then I have a package where my whole team come in. We set up your whole entire system. My attorney walks you through all of the paperwork. We get all of the paperwork for you. We get your first deal for you. So we're either driving for dollars, we're door knocking with you, or we're calling the people and we're walking you through the process the whole step of the way. You get my contractors, you get access to my contractors, you get access to my private money lenders, you get access to my hard money lenders if you need them, because I always want you to start out with hard money first. Although we're gonna fund it, I want you to start out with hard money, because hard money is how I got in the game. So hard money, she looked at me like, what is hard money? So hard money is a non-traditional way to start. It's a non-traditional lender. They don't lend like a home that you're gonna live in. They don't lend on that. They lend on only investment homes. So.
And I'm sorry not to interject, but as far as hard money lenders, you know, as far as paying it back, it may be a couple months. You have to pay that money back 5 months, 6 months, depending on whatever.
No, you pay
Depending on
you pay that mortgage every month.
Yeah, you pay. Really?
Every month. Yeah, you pay.
No, I'm talking. No. As far as like the hard money lenders, yes, I've been in contact with some that give you like 5 months to pay it back, like pay it back.
I want to talk to them
Really?
because ain't no hard money lender that I know that's legit that you got to pay back every 5 months. Unless
Pay back everything, then pay it off. Depending on the dollar amount, pay it back with like 5 or 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've never worked with that type of hard money lender. Mm-hmm. So the hard money lenders that we work with, we have to pay them every month. And what I mean by that is that it's a mortgage payment that you're paying. So you pay that mortgage payment. You're paying taxes each month. You're paying utilities. Because we have to have utilities because we need to secure it, right? So we need to put an alarm system and all of that stuff on it. So to go back to your question, she asked about the coaching program.
No, she had asked about the hard money lender.
No, she asked about the coaching.
Okay.
So I'm going to do something special for your people. So for everybody that's here, if you're interested in the coaching program, for the 3-month coaching, it is $13.97. But I will give it to you for $6.97 today. For the 6-month coaching program, it's $19.97, and for the day, it can be $12.97, and then for the year, that is a $5,000 coaching program, and I'll give it to you for $37 today.
Okay.
So I'll have to get my admin to do a discount code, and so the discount code would be LaRon for today.
So she gonna pay the difference.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
And so the other program that I have, the one that we come out with the whole entire team, those coaching packages start at $25,000. So I would have to get with the team because my whole team is on there. So I would have to get with them to see if I could do a deal with those. Yes.
Yes, it was when you guys got to the money talk, that's where I was so I work in tech, and in tech, a lot of our income is RSUs.
I love tech people. Come on, talk to me. Talk about language now.
So typically what I've seen, and I haven't gotten into it yet, but I've seen a lot of my coworkers investing a lot of their RSUs into to real estate because you end up paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes to the government. So it's like, in order to avoid that, I see a lot of people doing investing in real estate for that reason. And so I just wanted to ask if you had experience working with people that typically get a lot of their income in RSUs and how they use that to invest in real estate.
Small people, what are RSUs?
Oh, restricted stock options. So,
No.
I don't know if it's only a tech thing, but yeah. So like typically in tech, so I've been working at Facebook, by the way, and you know, you have your salary like normal, but also in tech, on top of your salary, you usually get what's called RSUs, restricted stock options. So you basically are bought into the company. So I'm gonna say if your salary is like $200,000, you may also get an extra $100,000 in RSUs that vest over, you know, for us it's every 1/16, so over 4 years. So you get a portion of that broken down into 16 payments over 4 years. And so it's taxed insanely high, because every time you invest, you're just having to pay out a check for that, or a portion of your, what do you call it? You pay for your taxes. You're having to pay the government on that. So I've seen a lot of my coworkers at Facebook typically like invest in real estate and use that money for a lot of different things because you pay like a crazy amount of taxes on it. So people are like, oh, we're using this money so we can avoid, you know, tax evasion type of thing. So that's what I'm really trying to get into, and that's why I was asking you guys that.
So I have a lot of experience with RSU, not at all, but it sounds like when we do work with people that have like IRAs and they try to turn them to self-directed IRAs, I know a lot of people have probably heard that, like what you can do with your regular investment accounts with your job or anything. Anybody?
Mm-hmm.
No? Okay, well great.
Is it? Yeah.
So it's similar, much similar. So generally, you know, you have your traditional IRA and you have your Roth IRA. The Roth is the one that you contribute with after-tax dollars, you know, and then the traditional is the one that, you know, your employee takes their, it's tax, basically you get a tax exemption for that one. But generally, to be able to use a self-directed IRA for real estate, it has to be with the custodian. So let's say you have a traditional IRA right now, like 401k, with your job. And you're like, you know what, because they're invested, they're doing all this stuff for you, it's managed through them. But what you can do is you can call them up actually and say, hey, you know, I'd like to self-direct my own IRA. They're gonna say, sure, yeah, we can do that for you, but generally they really can't, or at least they can't take your suggestions on how to be able to invest. So what you have to do is get a custodian, like, and I'm not necessarily sponsoring these people, but I'll say their name. So you can do like Quest. Quest does equity, like self-directed, and then there's one more that's like right down the street. I'll remember before this is over with. But basically, they will kind of take over your IRA, and they're going to be the custodian now. So you can direct them to say, this is what I like to do with real estate. They can show you like the options and everything that they have, and it's much easier than basically, I guess, doing it yourself. You know, these are funds that you've been saving anyway, you know, throughout your retirement. But I have a lot of people that kind of get started that way, and it's not like you have to use your entire account. It's just going to depend, you know what I'm saying? And the custodian can probably break it down more. But it sounds really, really simple. I mean, really similar to what we do with like IRAs. And generally, like I have Roth IRAs too. Like I know how much I can take out and everything.
You work with backdoor? I was gonna say I see that a lot in tech too.
No,
backdoor.
I've heard of it, but so I can manage my own essentially with the company that I'm with. But I was signing people up with these for like $25 a month at one time. You know what I mean? Because we just want people to start investing something. And that's when you start investing something, you get statements in the mail like, oh, my $25 grew to, you know, that's where it starts. It's like putting your, like what you said, putting your pinky toe in, that's where it starts. So it has to start with, you know, getting a Roth IRA, this has nothing to do with your job. You can totally open one yourself. You can start it with most of them $25 a month or so. But it gets you to seeing like how dividends look when they come, what the fees are associated with mutual funds and things like that. But you have something that you can invest in. You know, like right now it's about $6,000 per year that you can max out for those. If you're 55 and older, you can add like $1,000, $1,500 like catch up. But I mean, it's huge. I mean, that money grows tax free until you're 59 and a half. You're 59 and a half, you can withdraw it, but you can be, you know, regularly contributing to this, and that's the huge thing. But obviously people use that. Another thing I was gonna say about the hard money, here in Houston we have 50 million of them. But if you go, and not all of them are good, but did any of you go to the first Tuesday tax lien sales in Houston? Heard of it? Try to go. No, I understand. Never been? Okay, so the first Tuesday of every single month, Harris County has their tax sales. And so you can literally Google it. But they have the tax sales. To me, when I first got started, I started going to that event. Because in my mind, if I didn't have the money or whatever it is, who's gonna know This is not like being a fraud. I'm talking about like you have to be where you're going. Seriously. So I believe in immersing myself in there. So I would get up, put my clothes on, and you have to know, if you don't know me, I'm a super casual person. Like this is gonna get. But for those days, I would, put on my power suit, so to speak. I'm dressed really nice. I'm driving my BMW today, and we're gonna go down to the Houston to the tax sale because there are people there. There are people that run title. Like there's title agents there, and they'll tell you like, well, you can get 10 title searches. This comes in handy when you're doing your driving for dollars and you don't know anything about this property. It may have crazy taxes on it and things like that. But you can start meeting people and networking with people for free because the event is free. Now, if you buy something, well, that costs money. But I mean, the event itself is free, and you can't just go down there like you have to have cashier's check for the amount. So literally, if you buy something that's like $90,000, you gotta have $10,000 check. It's crazy. But anywho, I definitely recommend you go. The only thing you pretty much pay for is parking. You can, bid on on properties with tax liens, and you can watch the way that it goes. But the biggest thing is that you get to network with people. Like I said, there are going to be attorneys there, going to be hard money lenders there. There are going to be title reps there. Sometimes attorneys. You'll have wholesalers that are there. There's a lady. She calls herself the queen of foreclosure. She wears this. This is a big thing. She wears this purple cloak, like a queen cloak. I promise. She has a wand and a thing on her head, all that stuff. Black lady, so sweet. Her name is Linda. You will not forget her. She's at every single one of them. But when I tell you she signs people up and show them how to invest as far as buying foreclosures, it is a whole big thing. Because in me, I'm looking, I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. That lady had a line of people behind her, following her throughout the whole thing, to learn her methods of foreclosure, buying foreclosures. I was like, man, that is really awesome. But I'm talking about, I would have never saw any of this stuff had I not went. Yeah. And so on my calendar every single month, I put it on there whether I can make it or not, but generally I can make it. But it's usually off of Knight Road, but you can Google Houston Tax Sale. It's the first Tuesday of every single month. And you'll meet a lot of amazing people there. But you gotta say something to them, tell them you're an investor about to be or something. But, people are really open, really open there.
You can also find buyers there, right? You can find people with money.
Yeah.
So the ones that are always bidding, I'm watching them, right? And then after the tax lien, I go and introduce myself, give them my card, and I tell them, hey, I just need to know what your buy box is. Give me 2 weeks, and I can start sending you deals. And most of them be like, because they don't want to do anything. Exactly. So if you can deliver one thing for them, they will open up their wallet for you.
That's what I want to be.
I think we talked about a lot. We have a lot of real estate agents and about to be real estate agents in the room, and people always ask like, well, do I have to be a real estate agent? Absolutely not, you don't. But what's going to put you the closest to this stuff? Being a real estate agent. So if it's something that you want to do, passively think about your own deals. Like I can go buy my own deal. I may not have all the money, but guess what? I get a commission. I can use my commission to be able to purchase that property, put the money that I do have to it to be able to acquire it, if it makes sense. You know what I mean? So it just kind of puts you in a better position to be able to do investing when you're first at it. At real estate, we went today, we were out, and it was a Houston number came up on my phone, and I was like, it's Saturday. Because the number didn't come up, and I answered it, and he was like, hey, ShemiKa, I just saw you sold a multifamily, and I'm thinking, who is this? Because sometimes I don't even answer, it's Saturday, okay? But you're on the phone all day, every day, and basically he was calling with a deal. He don't know me from Adam, but he can see, properties that we sell and things like that. He's like, well, it's $1 million, and it's 10 units, and it's this, that, and other, and we're gonna show showings on Monday. And in my mind, it's $1 million. Now, am I gonna spend $1 million? Absolutely not, but I know I can raise it if it's worth it, you know what I mean? And so I told him, I said, well, hey, email me the information. And that doesn't mean that I'm committed to him or anything like that, but you want people like that on your phone. All his deals could be a bust, all I know, but he's calling me. I'm not looking for him. I didn't have to source him. He called me. Eventually, he might have a good one. Or, I'd rather have people coming to me, if it makes sense. Absolutely. Because I feel like I'm busy. I might not have time. But when I get home tonight and we take a look at it, if it's worth it, I want to go out and see it on Monday. I know how things go in Houston. Like $1 million is not a lot of money. It sounds like it, but in the world of investing, it's not. You're talking about like 10 people with $100,000. That's it. Is that right? Yeah. I talk fast, but no, seriously. But it could be that. And think about hard money and things like that. Like, it's easy to get your hands on that type of money, especially when you're in high net worth, individuals' presence, and they're accredited investors. I know y'all heard of accredited investors, but I'm gonna break it down. It's basically accredited investor is going to be someone that earns $200,000 or more, $300,000 with their spouse. These are people that are going to get, I'll say, more preferential treatment as far as investments. Like, they target accredited investors because they don't have to share as many disclosures and things as non-accredited. So non-accredited, they feel like, oh, well, we ain't trying to take her money, so now we have to go through all these different rules to be able to explain what it is with investing, whereas they figure somebody's making $200,000, $300,000 or more, or have $1 million net worth, excluding their primary residence, they should know more about investing, you know what I mean? And so that's what people usually target to be an accredited investor. So you'll see that all over, and there's so many different regulations and forms and things that you have to abide by. But most of the time when you see these opportunities, they're targeting those type of people because they're not thinking about $100,000. I mean, they're not thinking about $1 million. They're not thinking about 100 either. But they have friends and they run in those circles, and it's like they just call each other like, oh, is that what you need? Well, let me call so and so. I'm pretty sure I can get you another 200,000. Oh, well, let me call so and so. Maybe they have 50. And then they start introducing you to these people, and it just goes on and on and on and on, and then you get rich, and then that's it. That's all.
Anybody got any questions?
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's what I was just talking about, the accredited investor route.
It's a big deal. It is.
Did Avriel answer your question about the RSUs?
Yeah.
Oh, she didn't get to it.
I never had anyone. I have tech people, but they just give us money. They don't do it through.
They don't do, okay, yeah, because that's what I like said, even when you mentioned the Roth, I see a lot of people in my job, they do like the backdoor Roth, and they do all these things to basically like limit the tax hold, because it's like once you especially hit, I think it's like that $250,000 threshold in income, your tax, you pretty much all the things that typically are like, oh, student loans and all these things that help you get taxed. And it's like, it doesn't exist. So I see, like, I'm in the chats at work all the time, and there's like the investor groups, and there's like the backdoor Roth IRA groups. So
I think that's phenomenal. Like, I feel like I stalk people, but not like that. I stalk people digitally. But, when you see people like that, it's like, man, I go with people like that I resonate to. You know what I'm saying? Even on Instagram, it's like 50 million reels and TikToks and things. But when I talk to somebody and they're talking how I talk, or it's not like, sometimes you can look at people like, oh, no, not him, not him. But if it's one or two, like, I'll literally follow them, and I start looking through their content and things, and then seeing what I know that's glaring, you know what I'm saying, that probably aligns with what I'm aligned to. So, like, nurses that invest in stocks, I mean, I'm a nurse, technically. I'm retired, but I got a license. But, things like that is like, well, what are they doing? Because the majority of my clients are nurses, you know what I mean? Like, people I'm selling houses to every single week are nurses. So these are things that I can share with them, like, hey, I saw this girl, she did X, Y, Z. But I'm a giver, I'm a sharer, that's what I do, and that's what comes back.
Well, let me say, these two ladies here, Avriel, I was in a CEO boot camp together with her. And in this boot camp, we had to put on our spreadsheets like 9 important tasks that we had to complete. Avriel would have signing 30 contracts, seeing 20 contractors, flying to North Carolina, all in 1 week, and completed half of the stuff by day 2. And on my list it said read a book. It was little stuff. And I would and the crazy part is every week I would sit up and like read her list like it was stuff that I had to do, and I'd be like, wow, she don't never get tired. Man, I wonder how she do all of that. And so I'm actually just now meeting her from being in that group. And ShemiKa here, we talking about stalking. I ended up seeing ShemiKa's page through looking at different stuff on Avriel's page. Well, I was on the phone with Dee over here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this ShemiKa girl? I'm reading on her page. It said that so I said, it was a whole bunch of numbers on her page. I said, I don't even know what those numbers were at first. I didn't even know what it said. I said, thank God she put AKA 1.2 billion, because I thought she had a typo or something. And so she had, her and her group did 1.2 billion in sales. And so, like I said, the number was all written out, and I was like, girl, I was telling Dee, I said, girl, I think I need to just get back in the bed and go to sleep, because I ain't ready, I mean.
And she was like, let me send it to you, girl, let me show you. Like, I'm on the phone, I'm like, what? I was like, what?
That's the brokerage. It was 1.2 billion.
However, she was Rookie of the Year. Let's talk about that. Yes.
Yeah, I was telling Dee, I said, if you know me, I love my little dog Foxy. And so I was telling Dee, I said, girl, with that kind of money, I said, Foxy would have her own Tesla with a driver. Get her massages all day.
She already goes to the beauty shop. But then on Tuesday, every week, right? She has a
So nobody has any questions, y'all? I mean, y'all just.
But I want to just piggyback on what ShemiKa was saying about just getting out here, whether joining a group, investor group, just not even just that, but in addition to going, like you said, going down there every first Tuesday of the month, just to network. Because I think the thing with real estate, as far as investing, these properties aren't just in the MLS, you know, on hard. They're just not. These properties, for the most part, never hit anywhere. There's a whole underground world when it comes to real estate investing. It is. It's about who you know, who has a portfolio, who's ready to move their portfolio. You wouldn't even know that. You know, you meet people through different realtors that are connected or investors or whatever. So it's a different world. It's different from, again, searching on hard. That's not how it works, you know. So networking, I just say that to say networking is extremely important, because again, that's how you meet different people that's already in this industry, which is kind of like an underground industry, so to speak.
And to piggyback off of what she's saying, and not just in real estate, basically any business that you do, you really need to have a network of people that you can trust, that you can talk to, you know, even in tech, you know, to have somebody that you can share ideas with, etc. And then when it comes to real estate, like Avriel mentioned earlier, you know, especially with you starting out, you know, get with some realtors. You don't have to just have one realtor. You can have your whole team of realtors that, you know, that you become close with, so that when they get properties, because I know a lot of times if there's a property that's about to go, that we're about to post, I'd rather call you up and say, hey, I got this property, I haven't listed it yet, but they only want $85,000 for it, but, you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, after a little work, you know, you could probably sell it for $250, what's up? Mm-hmm. I'd rather do that than to have to put it on the MLS and have to deal with, you know, a whole bunch of people and people showing and all of that kind of stuff. So that's why it's good to get with a realtor, because sometimes people may just call us up and they may not even want it on the MLS. Versus, you know, sometimes to keep me from having to put it on the MLS, I may call you up or you up, because like Avriel said, we know what you're looking for, and we know, hey, she'll get the money or gonna come up with the money or whatever, and we can go ahead and do that versus putting it on the MLS. If we know we can go ahead and unload it immediately versus having to deal with, you know, having other people to go show it and whatnot, and keep up with all of that.
You go through that whole traditional process, and that's called a pocket listing. That's what that is. So again, I call, and it happens all the time. Like you said, look, I'm getting ready to list this, whatever that may be. This property is just like LaRon stated, and it never hits the MLS.
Mm-hmm. And some investors may even call up and be like, hey, I got this property that I need to unload fast. You know, I got something coming up. I need money fast. You know, you got some people you can call up real quick to unload this property. You know, so yeah, it happens all the time.
Does anyone have any questions?
Y'all look quiet bunch today. What? Nothing?
I'm curious, with the way the market is now, what advice do you offer as people think about real estate? Because like people who aren't in real estate and like talking about it like you, some people are like looking at the economy and feeling worried, like, oh, this isn't a good time to buy a house, or I shouldn't invest. So like,
It's
what are the
always
things
a
that-
good time to buy real estate. Real estate is one of those ventures where, you know, you buy now, sell later. And it's one of those secure investments, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens with the economy, people are always gonna need a place to stay. So, and you know, you hear these doomsday stories about the interest rates. Yes, the interest rates are higher than what they were from 2020, but they kind of basically just equal back out to where they were before 2020. And when 2020 hit, and basically with interest rates, you just have to understand that when interest rates are low, prices are high. When interest rates are high, prices are low. And so as we saw with 2020, when the interest rates were low, all of a sudden, boom, boom, bam, all of a sudden houses that were 200,000 jumped to 400,000, just like that overnight. Not to mention we had an influx of people from California and other places coming here, purchasing the properties, and basically if you didn't buy the property soon as you know, as soon as it came on the MLS, then it was like a no-go. And, you know, and even now, still with certain properties, depending on if it's a really good deal, you do have a bunch of people that be it just like that. Because I just recently had a property that I put it on the I put it on the MLS at like at 3 p.m. and I was sitting in the doctor's office for a checkup, and I was like, y'all, I gotta go, because I hadn't even put the lockbox on the house, and it was just realtor after realtor after realtor, and they were all cash offers. And I mean, it was just like that. Saturday morning, it was already under contract, because nobody even wanted to do an auction period. It was like boom, boom, bam. So depending on, you know, certain deals, it could be that, you know, it'll go just like that. You don't even have to put any effort in it. So don't listen to what social media and the fake gurus and the people that, you know, that are posing on the G-Wagons. You know, that's not real life. You need to just get out there, get in the field, because, and look at it like this, if it's something that's, quote, trending that everybody's talking about, then that isn't even the way that you need to go. Because, I mean, whatever it is, it's already, whatever money's to be made on it, it's already done, over with, and the people that's really making money is going on to something else. You know, like, an example of that is with that, what was it, Dogecoin. Everybody was talking about, oh, I want to buy that, you know, we're going to make millions, and everybody and their mama was posting on Instagram, Facebook, how they had went and bought it, and then like the next day, Elon Musk got online and said it was trash and then kaput, you know, so you know, when you think about stuff that everybody's talking about, it ain't what you need to be doing. You need to reverse when everybody's talking about. But real estate is something that has been around since, you know, forever, and that's how, like ShemiKa mentioned in the beginning, that's how all the billionaires, etc., they're gonna have some type of piece of real estate. They may not be active investors, but they have property. They're invested some kind of way in real estate. So if that's how they make money, I mean, you know, it's not in the jewelry, it's not in the flashy cars, it's good old fashioned real estate. And just think, once you get started, and that's one good thing about, you know, what Avriel talks about, we've all taken classes or been in some type of program, and we said, took all our notes, but then you don't implement none of the stuff that you have written in your notes. One thing about her, she's like, you gonna get out here and do this. You're not gonna just sit up here and talk about this all day. Enough talking is, you know, that's it. I'm gonna push you on out here and you either gonna float or you gonna sink, you know, but we gonna do this, you know. So that it's just getting on out there and just doing it.
But I think another thing when it comes to the fear of jumping out there of the unknown when it comes to real estate, with the interest rates, depending on what you're trying to do. Creative deals, we use creative financing to take out some deals also. And what I mean by creative financing, we use some subject to, which means we take over the mortgage and we start paying the mortgage. And then in 2 or 3 years, when the interest rates start, I guess, lowering or what they call it, then we'll actually buy out and we'll refinance the house. We use a lot of novation agreements with our flips, which means that we don't take out the loan. The homeowner holds the loan. They agree to whatever it is that they want to sell for at the end. And once we flip it and we sell it, when ShemiKa sells it, we give them what they need and then we walk away with the rest. So there are creative strategies that you can use where it's not just a straight fix and flip or a wholesale deal or Airbnb. I mean, because there's so many different ways that you can get into real estate, and that's what I say, you just need to get off the sideline. You need to learn different strategies. You don't just need to learn one strategy. You need at least 4 strategies in order to learn real estate. So if you have 4 strategies, if straight fix and flip doesn't work, then maybe you can go to wholesale. If wholesale doesn't work, maybe you go to novation. If novation don't work, you go to subject to. If subject to don't work, you go to owner finance. If owner finance don't work, mortgage wraparound. There are so many ways for you to get into real estate. Don't allow the interest rates to paralyze you, right? You got to learn different strategies to get into real estate.
And then piggyback, I'm sorry.
I had a question because now, like speaking of real estate, one question I've had for myself is whether to invest in commercial or private real estate. And I'm like, this is all new to me, so I haven't decided where I want to do it, what I want to play with. But do you guys have any suggestions or your pros and cons? And certainly, like I said, this is all from a silent investor. I just want to give somebody money, say make me money. So that being said, the question is kind of like, from that standpoint, do you guys have any like pros and cons from both sides, like the commercial investing versus like residential?
So when you say commercial, do you mean commercial like say strip mall, salons, things like that? Or when you say commercial, you thinking like apartment? Because technically,
So I meant like strip malls and things like that.
Okay.
And I've even seen from like the standpoints of, I've had classmates buy like even like franchises. Like I had one classmate, they bought into a spa franchise where they are like the silent partners, and it's like they are part owners of this spa that they don't like really go day to day doing work, but you still make money off of it. So I'm kind of curious if you guys have any experience in just those various areas within real estate versus, I guess, that side of commercial versus residential.
Well, I'll say whatever, it's going to depend on what your end goal is. So let's say you have, you know that I need $100,000 for whatever it is, and I need it in, 10 years or whatever it is. If it makes sense to do it that way, like in commercial you can. I'm so used to like residential and things, and what I was gonna say about the interest rates was like it's a buyer's market. So right now, if you don't own a home, it's not like, oh, you don't own a home, but now would be a great time to buy. Nobody said you had to buy the home of your dreams though. We're buying a house at a good price that we have built-in equity. The equity we can turn around and take the equity out and scale it, be able to buy a building outright, outright in the right market. I think the biggest thing about it is whatever you're gonna do personal real estate, it has to be at the right price, even the commercial deals. But generally, I'll say with commercial, I probably wouldn't, this is just ShemiKa, I probably wouldn't go out commercial my very first purchase because I feel like it's just me, I'm out here on a limb, things like that. I would probably get my primary residence first because that way I knew I got some kind of leverage somehow. I'm gonna eventually make money, and maybe sooner rather than later, because like I said, it's a buyer's market. Builders are buying down interest rates. They're paying all closing costs. Like we had a buyer got into her house with totally about $1,200 2 weeks ago. I said $1,200. That is including everything. You hear me? $1,200. That's it. The house is nice. To her, it's awesome. 3 bedroom, 2 bath. She was living in like a 1 bedroom apartment in the city. Now we're out in the suburbs. But I'm talking about it took $1,200 and a 620 credit score. That's it. She don't make like an astronomical money or anything like that, but now she has a piece of property that she owns that she can leverage as the time comes to be able to leverage it. If it was something like, if you were, I'll say a more higher net worth individual, like this lady had a kid and everything. If you didn't, I would say maybe finding a fourplex. We can still do a single family contract, basically a 1-4 family contract on it, and it's 4 units. You're supposed to live in one, and rent out the other ones. But I'm saying there are fourplexes around here. You know what I mean? And some of you may want to live in, some of you may not. But if you can't afford to be able to do it, I say do that and get the leverage. You know what I'm saying? Your mortgage is pretty much going to be paid from those three. That's the truth. And then you don't have to live in it. You can still stay here if you want it. Not those, the ones that say you're supposed to live in, you're supposed to live in. But I'm talking about, I have investors that, you know, that do that. They live in a very nice place, but they own, you know, smaller pieces of real estate because it's really not a race. It's only a race if you like have to have money like right now. But I play real estate as a long-term game. I can make quick money, lending it to Avriel and her team and say, hey, we just said we get 9%. How long is it gonna be? You know, like that. But it's probably for a bigger goal, is to be able to say, well, I've got 500 grand cash and I want to do X, Y, Z. I still may not use the whole 5. I might still use 1. But it's when the bank can see that, like, oh, she's got 500 grand. Why wouldn't I give her 200? You know what I mean? Because she could totally buy this outright. It's about what it looks like to those people as far as the bank. But for everybody else, let me just, you know, look at it, things like that. But it's about, you know, how much money you can acquire and be able to use as far as leverage. And I feel like the easiest way to do that is to purchase a home. Whether, you know, you're purchasing it like it's the home of your dreams, probably not, but just purchasing something in real estate, because you learn so much through that first transaction. It's like, man, it was this easy, you know, but something that you can totally comfortably afford.
And I think another thing when it comes to the commercial asset, if she wants to be a secret partner or a private partner or whatever, with those assets, those hold times are 5 to 7 years. So you don't see your return back to 5 to 7 years. Other like when you're an active investor, you see that return in 6 to 8 months. So it just depends on what you want your money to do for you and what the end goal is. And you also need to make sure that you vet that sponsor out. You need to make sure that they know what they're doing when it comes to those larger assets also. Because most of the time, you're going to be on the LP side, which means that you're a limited partner and not a general partner like on the GP. So most of the time, you don't get access to the lending docs. You don't get access to the meetings that they go to. So anytime that you want to be on a larger asset, you want to make sure that you have enough money or you can raise enough money so you can sit on the general partner side and not the LP side.
ShemiKa, can you break down more of what the passive investing?
Options. Okay. So passive investing is, like I said, if you know a really good active investor and you have, let's say you have 10 grand and you say, you know, ShemiKa, look, we got 10 grand, this is what we're trying to do. 10 grand is obviously not enough to fund a whole flip or anything, but it can cover construction costs and things like that. Now granted, we may need a couple more $10,000, but you just never know. It just depends on what it is. I might ask Avriel to say something too. Don't let me forget. She don't know what it is, but if I say that, she'll remind. So one of the things, what I said, like the short-term loans, which are generally like 6 months, but I say most of the time you will over-promise, no, over-deliver, you know what I'm trying to say? That's what I was saying. So tell them it's gonna be 12 months, pay them back in 6. See how fast they give it to you again. So with the short-term and long-term loans, a lot of people invest in notes, like promissory notes on the property. So like if you ever purchase a home, and you know you purchased a home and it was through, let's say, Guild Mortgage, and then you know after the first 30 days, you know they sell your loan to someone else. That's going to be somebody else purchasing the note basically of it, and that's their insurance. They're getting the payments every single month. Servicing. They're getting the payments every single month, and it's over this a longer amount of time. So some of the companies like that, Quest Company, and I cannot think of the other one, but it's in my phone. They facilitate those, so you can purchase promissory notes with funds that you have, and the amounts of them range from, I mean, some of them are pretty inexpensive, but you know, we're talking about 30 years as far as investing. Now, to me, I'm like, I don't know if I do that one, but you know, it sounds good. Maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago, something, but to me, it's like, okay, it might be too long. But that's just me. So what we said, promissory notes, which note investing, tax liens, obviously, it's a lot involved in that. Short-term, long-term loans, real estate investment trusts, which are companies that invest in real estate. They usually form just to be able to invest in real estate. And those do pay out every single month, but sometimes it's not a whole lot. What else as far as passive? That's a lot. I mean, obviously people know that short-term rentals, you can use those and things like that. I just learned that it wasn't something for me. But my real estate business is composed of 7 streams, and that's all I focus on. It sounds like a lot, but it's not, because that's all I do. in real estate. I have other things, but real estate has to fall within one of those 7 for me to even do it and make sense. So when I realized that short-term rentals wasn't going to work for me because I didn't have the time, I wasn't interested in hiring the people, I decided, I said, well, I love design, I love interior, decorating type things. How about when people ask me for the short-term rentals, because I get access to them, I would just design them, you know what I'm saying, or I give them a flat fee. So we just finished one. The girl closed on the house a couple weeks ago, and so she doesn't live local. I've been a travel nurse, so I know exactly what it is we're looking for. So I was like, listen, we'll go ahead and furnish the whole thing for you. We'll get the furniture, we'll do all this stuff, and I just charge her a flat fee. Well, that's phenomenal. She don't have to do it, and I know where I can price them, affordably. And so that to me is like something I get to do. You know what I mean? I didn't make I'm not making the money every single month from it, but I know I can make a cool $3,000. So let's do that. You know what I mean? And it takes me less than a week to be able to do it. Now granted, I have to have the time, and it's like one of those midnight oil type things, like it's a late night thing, because I don't have time in the day, but I like that because now she's gonna say, well look, if you get a short-term rental in Houston, call ShemiKa. She's a real estate agent, but she'll help you furnish it, And so different things like that. Some people like property management. To me, don't call me about no toilet. Don't call me about no air conditioner. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't. That was too much. So that's what I'm saying. You'll learn the different things when you start investing, or things that are, you'll say that may work for you. I'm not that person. Like, I'm already on my phone all day. I will know what to do. And a lot of my real estate agents love property management. Like, oh no, we do it. We'll do. I'm thinking, in the middle of the night, these people calling, or you gotta evict people and do all that stuff. You love it.
No, I said it's not enough money.
Oh, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's me. It's not enough money in it. Maybe if you had a lot of them, but then you need a lot of help.
Right.
And so that one really wasn't for me. But a lot of people do it as far as property management. But
Property management and project management are 2 different entities.
oh yes.
Yes.
So property management, think about like you in property management, you own a home but you don't live local, or you own a home you like to rent out. So you'll call, if I was a realtor that did property management, you'll call me and I'll say, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I'll get your tenant in. What do you want your criteria to be? They need to have a 650 credit score, great. They have this whole list. They're collecting rents for you, and they're gonna send you pretty much what's left to pay your mortgage and things like that after, your agreed upon fee. And then property management, like Avriel said, is pretty much, project manager is doing everything on that particular project as far as investing. Now, what I was gonna ask her to talk about was like when we do fundings, like when you have a wholesaler that didn't have all the money, then what do you offer them? Like as far as closing, like the double closes and things.
Oh, I try to stay away from double closes. And the reason that I stay away from double closes is because they're cracking down now. And double close means that the wholesaler don't want you to know what they're making. So they'll close the transaction with the first person that they're buying it from, and they're playing like they really and truly own that asset, or they're buying that asset, and then they come and they'll close it with me. So double closing means that they've done 2 closings in the last 48 hours, but then I take that property, and when I'm going to flip it, now I'm going to try to close that property or sell that property again. So what the title company looks at, they be like, wait a minute, why was there a double closing a couple months ago? So we've had 2 closings, total 3 closings, right? Because I still had to close on the asset, and now I'm trying to sell it again. So title companies frown on double closings. I try to stay away from double closings, but if there's a lot of money in it, we have a title company that will do it for us. And so, but most title companies, they do not like double closings. So, but to answer the question, when there's a wholesaler that comes and they says, so you're saying the wholesaler don't have the money, or the
So like
person?
they need the money to close the first one essentially, but
Yeah.
you're essentially loaning it.
Yeah,
to
the
get
transactional
Transactional
funding.
funding, if that's what it meant.
So we do transactional funding also. So if a wholesaler comes to me and they say, hey, Avriel, I need to do a double closing, not on mine, but they need to do a double closing on someone else. Hey, can I borrow $60,000 for 72 hours? Yeah, you can borrow $60,000, but you have to pay me $3,000. So they borrowed my money and they use it for 72 hours, and then they wire me back my money plus the interest. And I wire straight to the title company, and we're on a promissory note for this transaction. And so when the HUD statement is done, that's what the title company uses. When the HUD is done and the money is wired back, it's wired directly back to me. So I don't exchange money with the wholesaler. I wire it to the title company wires it back to me, but that's another way that I make money.
So not a bad return, right? For something else. That's what I mean. I should have said transactional funding, not the double closing part, but that's all I think about is double closing, but
Yeah.
right. Transactional funding.
So we make money transactional. We also lend. ShemiKa and I lend. We have to be a part of the deal though. No ifs and buts about it. We have to be a part of the deal. So if you don't have money and you want to borrow money, we lend our money out for fix and flips. We lend our money out for the transactional funding also. And it has to be in the state of Texas. We don't lend outside of the state of Texas because we need to be able to get in our car and drive to the property.
So you're like an investor?
I am an investor.
So do you do, like, in terms of getting the money that you lend out, do you use like private equity firms, or is that VC funding, or is it like your own funding?
So we have a mix. So I have a private equity group that I work with. I have a family office that I work with. Family office, it means that there is a family that has a lot of money and they only lend to certain entities. So I have 2 family offices that lend to me. And then I have a private equity group that lends to me also. And then ShemiKa and I have a network that lends to us. So yeah, we have 3 different groups. So when people be like, oh my God, how are you closing so many deals? We have money. We have people that just give us money.
You mentioned you had 7 real estate streams of income. What were the 7?
So when we first got to talking, I was telling you about all these licenses and all that good stuff. I still have them, but the one that I guess when we decided, when we saw that real estate was going to be super duper profitable, I was like, okay, well I have to technically not close down the streams, but I gotta shut them off a little bit. So with real estate, basically, we get paid on our property sales as far as regular commission. Well, that's the first thing. The second thing is I'm not from Houston. So I'm originally from Alabama, but remember I was a travel nurse, so I lived in states all over. I made connections, nurses, friends, all that good stuff. So when they see me on Facebook, they're like, man, I really wish I lived in Houston, but I'm in North Carolina. I'm thinking, girl, I got an agent in North Carolina. I'm with Keller Williams. I mean, we got agents everywhere. But I built relationships in these different cities so that when I call this other realtor, I say, hey, I've got a girlfriend of mine. We went to school together, whatever she's gonna call you to buy a house, I want 25% of the commission. So that's 25% of the total commission sales. I get 3%, 2 to 3% off of like my regular property sales, but this is 25% of the entire commission. So that's number 2. Number 3 would be like residuals. So I recruit at my brokerage. So when I recruit, and let's say I brought a new agent in, the brokerage is gonna pay me what we call profit share. And basically it's a determined percentage that's come straight from the brokerage. I don't have to do anything. I just know on the 20th or the 21st of the month, they're gonna put some money in there. So I don't even care how much it is. I hope they did it right. But they do it every month on the 20th. And it's not huge, but I know the potential for it to grow. This is something I don't have to do. I just gotta invite you one time. And that's how it works. So how many is that? That's 3. 4 would be like we do a lot of affiliate type things. So with some of the other licenses I have, I try to be able to marry them into real estate. So let's say we get a client that needs to close, they're closing on their home. Well, of course you want a security system, right? I know you do. So I have connections, an affiliate with ADT, and so ADT pays me a set amount if the client signs up with them to do their security system. So that's almost every one of them. And what's crazy is they're tied into MLS now, so they can see when I close a deal. I don't even have to call them; they call me.
They reach
And I
out.
only exactly.
They
So I
reach
only deal with one lady from ADT, and then I'm affiliated with another company, which is Vivid. And so this may be somebody that's already in their house that's not showing up on there, but I get a commission from that. For a homeowner's insurance, I get a commission from
Transactional funding.
Oh yeah, transactional funding is another commission. Different kind of services like credit repair. When I work with credit agents, they give me money. When I send a client over there, like, thank you for sending it, we'll send you XYZ. We do those secure cards. Like, let's say when I look at someone's credit, I know they can only use they can need like 1 or 2 little things. I get a commission from that company, credit monitoring. It's probably about 10 to 15 little ones. But it's something that I do all the time, so it's not like something I have to monitor. It's like, oh, the check came, great, And it's, gas money, food money, whatever. Honestly, I don't pay attention to that type of money. I should, but it's not big enough that I pay attention to it, and it's sporadic. But that's a stream. I did the short-term rental furnishing, And then the 7th is passive. I think it's passive. Did I miss one?
The
Does anyone know?
private, the private money too.
Okay, and of course private money.
I think
But
you did.
I think that's all I
You
said.
made it.
In my mind, I say it all the time, but I mean, that's kind of the way it works, and it sounds complicated, but it's really not, because the first one, yes, they work together, they marry together. So when I was like super new as an entrepreneur, and I'm talking about like 13, 14 years ago, and I heard people like, you need 10 streams of income, I was like, cool, I'm gonna get that license, the net license, the net license. I didn't realize that, ShemiKa, you can put all these streams into one. And so when I realized that, was obviously in real estate, but now it makes sense because I only have to focus on those. Everything else I do, like the mortgage lending, that's great, but it's pretty much more like a referral type income because I don't have to actively do it. I can, hey, how you doing with the client, do that thing. They have, we have loan officer assistants that pretty much do most of the loan. I'm pretty much got the license, you know what I mean? But, and they pay, commissions for that. But you can put all those streams into one thing. So even if you're not an active investor or you're not doing short-term rentals, whatever it is that you're doing, just find a way to build around that. And that's like huge, huge. I sounded like Trump, you know exactly.
You got any questions?
And that's about wholesale.
Which stream makes you the most?
Oh, legally, I'm just waiting. IRS people in here. No, I'm joking. So I guess it depends. I'll say it depends because, like I was telling young lady, like it's a buyer's market right now. So we have a deal that my husband's a real estate agent as well. He went with a client today. This client has been like all over the world trying to find a house, and she's pre-approved for $1 million for her personal residence. You hear me? Personal residence. And she's like a nomad. She just a nurse, travel nurse, no kids, no husband, no nothing. She just lay ahead and go. I was like, so at first she wanted to do investing, then she wanted to do this, then she wanted to do that. I was like, okay. So today she was like, I'm coming to Houston, and I need you to show me some properties. I'm thinking, girl, I got something to do today. But I didn't tell her that. I said, great, I got somebody to show you. So I had my husband to go and take her out, and he knows her. But what we know is right now she's like all over the place. And so earlier this week, I went to a networking event for realtors, right? And remember I said it's a buyer's market. They gave us certificates that would give us a $10,000 bonus when a client wrote a sale. So this is on top of the commission. So let's say her house is going to be, I think it's the one she's looking at is 552. So anybody got a calculator, 552 times 3%, we'll get that plus a $10,000 bonus. This is every 30 days. This is like a 30-day. You see what I'm saying? It's got to be like 23. Let's see. I'm gonna tell you how much it is. If it's $500,000, it's 15. So it's $25,000. So I make $25,000 on that deal, and I wasn't even there. My husband went. But that's great. So I may not make that $25,000 doing my transactional funding. But if they're paying me 9 to 12% on it, if I'm investing $20,000 there, I'm gonna get my money right back. I didn't lose it, I just made money. So I may make $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 then. But my property sales is what's making a lot of the money, like I said, right now. Oh, and I didn't mention the coaching on the real estate. So I do make money from real estate coaching. Like I can partner on a deal with another real estate agent, like one that's super new and maybe don't know all the ropes. Well, I can't just coach them. I have to kind of be in the deal. Not in the deal like money-wise, but I need to know everything that's going on because maybe they can't explain it the way I need to. So they have me, I have them, and I don't do it on every deal. I feel like they can probably master in like a deal or two and I don't have to be in it. It's a small percentage. I don't like charge a whole lot or anything like that because I want them to be able to learn.
Would you tell someone who is trying to get one of those networking events who may not know what to say or what to do, and all these people who are already experts in the field, whether it's investing or what have you, how can you bring value to them?
Man, that's a good question. I like it though, because I agree, like I said, for its value. So, depending on, what do you say you do?
I'm a singer.
A singer. Okay. So my conversation generally, like when I go to these events and things like that, I don't usually just even introduce myself. I might start off with a question or something like that, and I ask them because people love to talk about themselves. I know I do. You know what I mean? Sounds bad, but that's true. That's us. So when we meet people, I say, are you an investor or whatever it is? Well, yes, I'm an investor. I do X, Y, Z. Like, man, I've been looking to do something like that. What would be your first tip you would give someone they want to talk about themselves, I promise you. And so they'll say, well, I'll do X, Y, Z, and whatever it is. You're like, great, you know what, I probably could use a mentor like you. What would I need to do to be, to be in your space or something like that? And it's basically service. You know what I'm saying? Like a service type thing. Now, we ain't talking about weird people that say crazy stuff to you.
Right.
But I'm talking about, like, if they say something like, well, I'm hosting this event, I could use a co-host, or I could use X, Y, Z, or things like that. Just make yourself present valuable, but you kind of have to ask them, and if you don't know them, you know what I mean? But I was always that type, like, I didn't want people necessarily knew what I did, because they will assume, like, oh, well, she don't need it or whatever. Maybe I don't need it, but I can offer something. When I didn't have the money to invest in things, I remember this was like in 2013 or 14, I was at the courthouse, and I called myself doing some tax lien investing. I don't know anything about this. I didn't at the time anyway. So I'm in there looking, and there was this black guy came in. I'm talking about dressed super nice, like hood nice. I'm talking about like tracksuit. I know, it sounds follow me. So, but he looked like he had money, obviously. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, now this is an odd place for this guy to be. He had on his sunglasses and Mercedes keychains and all that stuff, and I was like, what you doing here? Because he was looking, he's like, what are you looking? I said, well, they say if you look in here, you can see the property is getting ready to sell. This is in North Carolina. It's a little country place. And he was like, are you trying to make money? I was like, yeah. He was like, so we talked and laughed, you know how we are. And so he was like, well, look, I'll show you how I make money with this, and I won't charge anything or nothing like that. He said, because you look like, you're really interested in this. And I didn't have a mentor or anything. I just heard that that's what you have to do. You have to go to the courthouse. Well, everybody can go to the courthouse in here. They're not going, they're going to pat you down. But other than that, that's it. Not pat you down, put yourself through. But almost all the courthouses, even in Texas, have the properties listed at the front. Even like I live in Montgomery County, they're at the front. You can see who owes what and all that stuff. But in North Carolina, they happen to be in this book. So what he did was, and I don't know how legal this was or not, because I asked him was it legal. He was like, that's his exact word, right? And so I'm new now. I'm not in real estate. I'm not in anything. I was play nursing and I was running another type of business. So what he did was, he showed me, he said, okay, I need your help. He said, I don't have time to come up here and look through these books. So he gave me a set parameter. He told me that if the house is like between 40 and, no, not 40, it was like 300,000 to 400,000, like he had a range basically. So the people were behind on their taxes, right? But it showed in it that the house was up for foreclosure or for the lien. And so he said, well, I'll give you these cities to go to, and I want you to give me the list of all the people that are in, in this particular buy box type thing. So I said, okay, I can do that. So I would do it maybe like on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then maybe like on Friday, I'll meet with him and give him a list. He said, now this is what we're going to do. He would prepare like a letter, or had his assistant prepare like a letter, basically talking to these people to let them know like, hey, your property, or I think he said maybe I'll purchase your property or whatever for this amount of money. You have this amount of time to give me this back. And I was like, man, that's terrible. He was like, oh no, they'll pay it. Because he's not looking for like the houses that's like 100,000. He's talking about people that are like $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 homes that they're not about to let $5,000, $10,000 get in the way of them, still living in the house. So that's what I said. I don't know. I asked him was it legal. He was like, it's kind of gray, but I mean, he didn't go to jail or nothing. But he literally, he had a contract basically, and sometimes he would go to the people's door themselves, and he said, look, I own this property, and you're behind in you were behind in your taxes. But I paid this amount, and so now I want this amount plus an extra 5,000. And I was thinking, but they didn't have the first part. He said, oh no, they have it and they'll get it. And I was like, oh my God. And so that kind of freaked me out about the tax lien investing something. But that guy paid me, and he paid me for every single one of them. But that's what I meant about the whole value thing. I would just have to be in the right place at the right time. I didn't know that I was going to meet him that day. But like I said, even after that, I was in a situation, and he was like, well, I have this house that, because I wanted to rent something at the time. This was years and years ago. He's like, well, I have a house that I'm not going to sell. The people I'm going to evict, or I'm going to foreclose the house and keep it. The house is like $300,000 or so. And he was like, well, you can rent this house, you and some of your girlfriends, because we were doing this whole roommate thing, for like $1,600, $1,700 a month. Well, that was winning. He was just going to pay the note. Some mortgage companies will allow you to come in and just start assuming the note. Not all notes are assumable, but some of them will. You know what I mean? Like different companies, you can just come in and start paying the payments. They don't care who pays them as long as you get paid. And so that's what he did with that loan. He just assumed it. So the money we paid him, or would have paid him, would be what he used to pay the note. He would not have his pocket for anything other than what he paid for the tax lien.
And to piggyback off of what she said, when it comes to meeting people, you just have to talk. You know, just say, hey, how you doing? And, you know, if you want to break the ice, you know, just give them a compliment. You know, a genuine compliment. Don't just say, you know, I like your hair. You know, but, you know, give them a genuine compliment, and then that'll just like kind of break the ice and just go from there and just start talking, you know, like she said, because people do like to talk about themselves, and if they got a lot going on, they sometimes, yeah, they might just, yeah, let me tell you, I got this deal going on right now, you just interject and ask whatever questions that you want.
Yeah, don't feel intimidated. Don't feel intimidated. 'Cause like you say, everybody they like to talk. You know, initiate the conversation, and you'll be surprised as you go from there. We just start telling you everything that have going on. But don't feel intimidated in the room.
Right. It's your confidence. Like I said, you building up your own confidence. And this is the last trick I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna be quiet. So has anyone ever heard of the DISC personality profile, like DISC? Everybody heard of it? Man, I'm about to change y'all's life. Y'all ready?
Somebody said, was it you?
You say yes.
Approaching,
This.
Yeah, she did too.
So I love talking to people all day, every day, but I'm just as country as they come. You know, ain't no different. This is just me. So what I used to do was when I meet people, I studied the DISC when I was in a different organization, but it stands for DISC, dominance, influence, steadiness, and C is conscientiousness. Everyone has a certain personality type. Generally, it's 2 of them. But when I talk to someone, I can find out what I need to know from them, like what personality type, so I can only speak to that. Sounds weird, but I promise you it works. So if I meet somebody brand new and I say, you know what, tell me about you. If they say, well, what do you mean? Then I know they're a C personality. C personality people are they are more cautious and they're more skeptical. C personality people, like, when I say, well, tell me about you, they're like, well, what you want to know about me? That's the first thing. Some of y'all season here already know, and it's fine. It's okay. But C people, that's how they are. They're super analytical. Am I lying? You're analytical. You probably do that analysis by paralysis. You know what I'm saying? Like, you keep going on. You got to have all the details. I got to show you step by step how it works, and I got to hold your hand. She's a C. Obviously. But I'm good at that part. So that's a C personality. One of my best friends is a C. I already know how to have to deal with her. I can't like give her a short answer. I have to tell her everything. You know what I'm saying? That's just how she works. Now, if I say, you know, tell me about you, and you tell me about, you know, like, well, I'm married and I have 2 children and they do this and they do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know that you're an S personality. S personality people is like steadiness. So things like they love their family, they love to be in the background. They're not out in the front, they don't have to be in the front. Their whole job is they love to support. My husband is an S personality to his heart. That is all he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? Is support. He'll do whatever he needs to because it's a team thing. If I said that question and you said something like, if I ask myself, like, tell me about you. D people, our personality, like, we lead with our accomplishments, our goals, the amount of money we make and stuff like that. Ain't nothing wrong with us. We just like to be. That's what that's our strong thing, our confidence. We tell you, well, I do this, that, and other, and we're really direct. So with D people, they feel like they don't have time. So if you're talking to a D person and they're telling you about all that stuff, hurry up and get to the point and go ahead and tell them what you need to tell them. Boom, that's another D. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's really dominant. We like delegating and things like that. That's just our personality. And the last one is I. So when I meet I people, and I say, tell me about yourself. They're like, oh my gosh, let me tell you, life is amazing. It's wonderful. They are like the eternal optimist. Everything is positive. They're excited. You know what I'm saying? That's the I person. There's nothing wrong with that. You was like, you were supposed to call me. Oh, I was supposed to call you last night. I put it on my calendar, but I forgot. And you're like, you were supposed to call me. And they're like, you know what, I'm gonna schedule it, and I'm so sorry. But the thing about I people is their feelings are hurt very easily. So you can say something to them and you don't mean anything by it. And they're like, oh my God, like, I can't believe she said that. Because for them, social things are very important. Social friendships, their influence is very, very important to them. So when you say something to maybe attack them, or like, girl, get your head out the clouds or whatever, that's like a personal attack to them, to those type of people. So generally, if I meet somebody and I don't know who they are, don't know anything about them, I say, well, tell me about you. And I already know from however they answer that question, it's about to go down. Because if they're D, I know I got to hurry up and do what I got to do now. A person that's a D and an I, those people make decisions on the spot. I can literally call someone and tell them, like, hey, this is what we got going on. If they're a D or an I, I'm gonna find out what they're gonna do right now, today. They can like, let's do it, or let's not. If it's an S or a C person, I know they're gonna have to sleep on it. They're gonna talk to me about it tomorrow or whenever they get through doing their analysis. But it works. And so I'm not even a certified coach or anything, but I probably should be because I really like it and it's helped me in every business I've ever been in to learn personality style. What you laughing at?
But it's helpful though,
It is.
when you're interacting with people.
So I wanted to follow up because when I first started going to network events, believe it or not, I was very shy.
No way.
I was very shy. So what I did was I wore something that stuck out. So it made people start coming up and talking to me. So I wore bright shoes, or I wore my business name, or I had a QR code on the front of my shirt and the back of my shirt, and they didn't know what it came from, so they would come up and just scan, and I'd be like, why are you scanning my shirt? And it would just give me that openness to start talking to them. So that was how I started to break the ice when I went inside of the room. But yeah, for me to walk up, I didn't do that before. Now I can, but when I first started,
That is awesome.
Again, listening to her, and I met her for the first time yesterday. Now, being on the Zoom calls with her, like I said, she would have, gotta close 30 contracts, and this is for this investments. Fly to North Carolina, go to Dallas, and it's only Wednesday, and she's done almost all of them. And me, I wouldn't have half of my stuff done. But if she missed one of her things, she'd be like, Coach, you see, I should have been able to do it. And me, I'm like, all I said was read a book. But when I met her yesterday, I even told Dee, I said, she was so quiet, she didn't say nothing. And then, like, when we did our live together, she was like, man, they gotta do this, they better do this, and they better do that. And then let's meet her in person, and she's like, she's just like,
Taking everything in.
I said, well, I guess she just observing everything, that military side. She trying to see what she need to do, be in a situation. I don't know. But yeah, she is.
And then we have
She's
ShemiKa.
quiet. Yin and yang.
I love fireball here. I love it though.
Anybody else? No questions? You ladies, you got any questions?
I hope this has been helpful.
I hope so.
Yeah.
There's money out there, man. We gotta go get it. Like, let's go. That's what I heard.
That's what you hear?
Okay.
That's what
Yeah.
you hear.
A lot of
Do
it.
you ladies have business cards, or can you give out your contact information?
I have a digital business card.
I'm old school, way back at the paper. I'm just So we got both.
I love the energy. But thank you, ladies, for coming out tonight. This was amazing. And we definitely hope, like I said, this won't be the last that we see of you, at this event or whatever, like Ron was speaking earlier, for those who came in a little bit later, that again, you could go ahead and sign up and join the organization, Black Women Invest, and every month there's a meeting like this, meaning today was just, we talked about real estate, obviously, real estate investing, but every month there is some sort of topic about investing, period. So again, you be in the room with like-minded women like this. I mean, bosses, baby. That's what we're trying to do, right? And build what? Generational wealth.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
And so if you are interested in joining BWI, on the sign-in sheet, the QR code is on there. You can just scan it and it'll take you to the monthly membership. Again, if you do the monthly membership, then you don't have to go through Eventbrite. I'll send out the information for the different things. We are going to start doing things such as like Margarita Mondays or Taco Tuesdays or Thursdays, and different things so we can get to know each other, because at the end of the day, like ShemiKa said, I'm not gonna want to invest with you if I don't know exactly who you are and what you have going on. And so, it gives us a way to really get to know each other. And then after we get to know each other, then then I can ask you for your financials so we can
Your references.
Right. But yes, we would love to have you a part of BWI. If you aren't December, because we have so many things that we are going to accomplish together, and this is just the start of a new beginning. So again, thank you for all coming out tonight. Mix and mingle, talk to each other. Scan the sign-in sheet if you plan on signing up, and I hope to see you ladies next month.